Assalamu alaikum. For my non-Arabic speakers, it simply means peace be upon you and peace to everyone else. Something very heavy was weighing on my heart this morning, and I said, let me express this. And I wanted to do it in a way where someone who needs to hear it can be affected, can be impacted. For many, many years of my life, those of you who know my story can vouch and say she went through a lot at such a young age. Such a young age. I'm only 50 years old, but nearly 80 to 90% of my development has been entrenched in trauma and pain. I used to think, God doesn't love me. Doesn't love me. Doesn't want me here. Doesn't want me here. But that happens sometimes in this temporal life before you actually develop into your awareness as a human being. And so, after experiencing so much and getting the specific help that I needed and growing to be a more spiritual human being and an individual, I learned that, and I am still learning that I went through what I went through, partially so that those who are coming up behind me and have experienced it or will experience it can have a toolbox, something to reference, so that the pain becomes a little bit better to deal with. Now, for people who have been subjected to trauma and have various mental health issues such as CPTSD, like myself, i.e. complex post-traumatic stress disorder, major depression, and anxiety. It usually comes as an end result after a long time of being exposed to different adversities, and it's usually lifelong. So with that, you're probably, if you have these diagnoses, going to be in therapy for the rest of your life. I've come to terms with it, and I'm happy with it. I'm happy to have my pain turned into power and motivate and encourage other people along the path. What I wanted to share with you, before I share this with you, I wanted to say, because I recall at one point in my life, someone very close to me said at a funeral in which someone very close to me was being buried, we ought to knock you on over in there with him, with a straight face. Someone I would later find out in therapy betrayed me. And I asked my Lord to forgive that person. And I've extinguished the guilt and the angst out of my heart from that statement. But it pierced me many, 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 many times before I got to this point. I remember another instance when I was just coming out of surgery. Someone very close to me said, as their first words to me, "You still alive?" I'm like, wow. And these occurrences continue to become a constant in my life. And I've walked around for many years saying, when I come around such and such, I'm bringing gifts. I'm spending money. I'm spreading joy. I'm spreading peace. I'm helping. I'm sacrificing my time and whatever it is that God has bestowed upon me, Allah has bestowed upon me, to help accentuate the life of another human being, only in return to get the reciprocal behavior of evil. I don't deserve that. I didn't. Nobody does. So what I say to that is, I've learned to be by myself and to be alone, because that's how I feel most comfortable. And I like to tell you that if you have experienced anything similar to what I've described, if the best that you can do is start with your daily affirmations, telling yourself those beautiful things that you never heard throughout your life, so that you can feed your mind goodness, do it. And if you get a little bit more strength, start with self-help books based on your conditions. And then when you get more courage, then talk to a life coach, talk to a therapist. Turn your pain into power. And lastly, I want to leave you with this. A long time ago, a good friend of mine's out of Stockton, California. You can look him up. He's a worldwide entertainer by the name of Mr. Billboard Bear. He wrote a lyric in his song, and it so touched me. And I use that as something to reflect upon, as something that motivates me. And I want to motivate and encourage you. So I'm going to leave you with this. He said, my setback was my setup for my comeback when I get up. I'm up now. I got it. I'm dealing with it. I can live with it. It's easy to deal with the daily thoughts of wanting to take a life, of not wanting to be here, having to have brought up just about everybody that I've ever known who was close to me on my shoulders and on my backs, only to be left in a daze, a stupor during the time when I needed them the most, when I lost everything, when I lost my job, when I lost all my money, raising a house filled with kids after I had helped raise their kids and helped bring them up and pick them up and maintain them. To sit around and see me at my weakest point and not do anything but walk away or make excuses that you couldn't help when I never did that to you guys. God bless you, and may He keep you. Remember that I'm up now. Get up. Turn your pain into power. Y'all take care. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you.